Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all for joining us. My name is Mandy Van Hoevelen. I'm Minikoju Lakota and a member of the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe, and I manage the Cultural Interpreter Program at the Smithsonian's National Museum of the American Indian. I work to increase the public's knowledge, awareness, and appreciation of Native cultures through educational programming. In addition to our exhibitions, public programs, and educational resources, we are excited to be building the National Native American Veterans Memorial on the grounds of the museum to honor Native veterans and bring awareness to the extraordinary service of Native men and women in the United States Armed Forces. Today, I am so excited to be speaking with the designer for our National Native American Veterans Memorial, Harvey Pratt. Harvey is a citizen of the Cheyenne and Arapaho tribes of Oklahoma. He's an artist, primarily a sculptor and painter, and was a forensic artist for the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation for 30 years. Harvey served in the Marine Corps in the Vietnam War from 1962 to 1965, and he was selected as the memorial designer in 2018 in a competition that had over 100 entries.
Thank you, Mandy. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be here, and I want to thank the National Museum of the American Indians, and I want to thank the design team, the architects, all the support people that made this possible. I want to thank the people that donated to build this memorial. I want to thank the construction people. We pray for those men that are out there working for it now so that nobody's hurt during construction. And it is an extreme honor for myself and my family. Thank you.
Thank you again, Harvey, for joining us today. I understand that the idea for the design of the memorial came to you in a dream. And I was wondering if you could share a little bit more with us about what inspired you.
Yes, thank you. You know, I had attended 2 meetings in Oklahoma by the Smithsonian to describe and what the veterans wanted. And I attended it with one of our veteran directors, and he encouraged me to make a submission. And I said, no, I can't do that. I said, there'll be people from architects and people from all over. I said, I'd just be wasting my time. And he said, so he took me back the second time and he said, come on, Harvey, you need to do this. He said, do it for the tribe and submit something. He said, it'll be all right. So I said, well, let me think about it. I said, and I'll go home and let me dream on it and let me see what happens. And so that's exactly what I did. The next morning, after I had dreamed about it, I got up and I went downstairs and I got some paper and I made some sketches of what I thought the memorial should be. And I was trying to figure out how you can get 574 federally recognized tribes to agree to something, and without naming one particular tribe or any name. And I thought the way to do that is through ceremony and the spirituality of Native American people. And so that's what I incorporated, was the concept of elements and the wind and the fire and the water and the earth and ceremonies. We all go have places that you go to have ceremonies. You go to church. There are special places on this earth that Indians go to, into the mountains and into the valleys. And so I thought, it has to be someplace that we go to. We have to be a destination. And was my general concept of the design, that you had to go to and not just walk through. Yet it was a destination. So that was my idea of the spirituality and ceremonies that you go and prepare yourself.
Thank you for sharing that, Harvey. It's such an amazing story to think about the fact that you hadn't even intended on applying for the competition initially, and now here we are just months away from dedicating this memorial. And you speak about how this is a destination and a place you have to go and you have to visit. And I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about some of the specific design features and the symbolism behind them, the features such as the circle, the drum, and the lances.
Since we're talking about destination, there's a path of life, the way we conduct ourselves. And so I have a path of life that leads from the museum itself to the memorial, the Veterans Memorial. And as you walk this path of life, there's an audio system, and you can hear the drum beat, the rolling thunder of the drum beat as it crescendos up into the thunder of the drums as you're walking towards a memorial. And then when you get closer, you can hear softly the Indians singing a flag song or a veteran song or a memorial song. And it's just quietly, you hear that as you approach the actual ground of the memorial, the Warrior Circle of Honor. And you can enter the Warrior Circle of Honor either counterclockwise or clockwise. And a lot of tribes have certain ways that they enter a sacred ground or an area. And I have a horizontal circle, a pathway that you can walk around, and then you step inside of that another circle where there's a seated area, and you step in there and you become in harmony with things. You become in harmony with nature. We come in harmony with the earth, with the spirits, as you step into harmony with all things, the animals. You kind of absorb all of that energy from the directions, and you have the entry for 4 directions, and then some tribes consider 6 directions, and some tribes consider 7 directions. And so those are all in there. They're subtle, but it's in there. You'll recognize it. And then, so of the circle, the north, south, east, and west entryways, and in between those, you have the cardinal points. The cardinal points, the southeast is the sacred color of white, where the sun comes up. And you can start your day every morning with the prayer to the Creator and try to be a better person today than you were yesterday. And then you look to the southwest. That's the color red, where the Creator comes from. He shows his power. He comes from there, and we always remember him at that point. And then the northwest is the color yellow, and that's Mother Earth. Everything that we have comes from Mother Earth. We honor this very earth that we walk upon. And you see the living and the breathing and the trees as things move and the water flows, and the animals that are provided for us. And when we have to take a life of an animal, we always pray for that animal and thank the Creator for giving us that opportunity. And only take what you need. So we think of Mother Earth, and when we're born, and then when we die, we go back to Mother Earth. And then the northeast is the color black, and that's our ancestors. And our ancestors taught us all of our ceremonies. They taught us how to act and how to behave and what to do, and ceremonies that we have to remember our culture. So those were the directions and the cardinal points. And when you stepped into there and you saw 4 lances, and the 4 lances have eagle feathers on them, and those are the awards that veterans won. And that's how we count our awards, is through these feathers, and they're attached to these lances. And there's also rings on the lances where you can tie prayer cloths, where you could tie a prayer cloth to the lance, and you can say a prayer for your loved one or your veteran who's in the military, or someone in the past, or your grandchildren, or you're praying for somebody, and you pray over that little cloth and you tie it to that lance. And every time the wind blows, that prayer goes out again. So we have lances and prayer cloths. And when you step inside, you'll see a 10-foot round drum. It's a stylized drum, and it has water flowing out of it. And the water flows out and down the sides, and the drum calls the people. You hear that drum beat, and you know you must come to the drum beat. And so that goes out across the land. And the water that you flow, nothing grows without water. Nothing grows without water. Ceremonially, we drink water when we start ceremonies, so you'll have a good time. You bless yourself with water. And so we have the water there for you, and we have the fire so that you can warm yourself. You can do your ceremonies with the fire, and you can make your offerings. and say your prayers through the air and give offerings to the earth. You can make offerings to the earth there and pray for your loved ones and your family that's in the military. And all of these things, this circle, the big steel circle with the fire growing out of it, is 12 foot high. And actually the circle represents the unity and the timelessness of this design. There's the circles horizontally and the circle vertically they're timeless things. They're images that are timeless, and we recognize those things. This design was specifically for Native Americans, for them to understand and to see where they can sit in there and be comfortable and do their ceremony in private or to be observed. So it's the hole in the sky where the Creator lives, and you send your prayers through that circle into the sky, so that you pray for your veterans and your war mothers and your brothers and your sisters, the men and women in the military, those in the past. And since this design was for Native Americans, I believe that my great-grandfather could walk into that design and he would recognize those symbols. And veterans today walk in there, they will recognize those symbols, the elements and the fire and the water, the air and the earth. They'll recognize those things. And my grandchildren's children will walk in there and they'll still recognize those things. It's not dated, it's timeless with the circles and the elements. So
thank you, Harvey, for that explanation. I know that for me as a Lakota person and as the granddaughter of a World War II veteran, this memorial has just so much meaning and symbolism for me personally. And what you said about past and future generations recognizing the meaning behind this, I think is really powerful. I'm wondering if you could speak to what you hope our visitors, those who come to see this memorial, what messages you'd like them to walk away with.
I would like to be able to educate non-natives, that they would see these symbols, this memorial, and they will see Native people there that have come, and they're going to do ceremonies, and they can watch these people, men and women, maybe do a ceremony, and I want them to be educated so that they'll recognize that the Native American people have defended this land, this country from the very beginning, and that we're still here. We're still defending this land for this country. And I want people to see us here and see the symbolism and realize that Native people are still here, and we're still defending this country. Our blood has been poured all over this land, and now we're Native people are shedding their blood all over this earth. So I think those things are important to us and to the people that observe this, and that they see that we haven't forgotten our ways, and we're not letting people forget us, and that natives can come here and be healed and comforted. They can say their prayers, and it's healing and comfort and strengthening. You know, so many ceremonies are going to be done at this location that when you come here, you're going to feel that. I strongly believe that you're going to feel an energy here when you come into here, because of all the things that are going to be done, the sacrifices that they're going to make, and the pledges and the prayers. It's just going to be a place of power and comfort.
Thank you for sharing that, Harvey. Those are some really important messages that I hope all of those who get to experience this memorial will come away with. Now we're going to open up the program for some questions from the audience. So if you do have a question, again, please post it to the Q&A section and not in the chat section. We'll just take a couple seconds here to see what questions are coming in for Harvey. Harvey, the first question I see is, would you be able to tell us a little bit more about the flame and the fire element?
You know, tribes have sacred fires. You know, that's they use the fire when they'll burn their sage and their sweetgrass and their other medicines that they're going to use. They'll use those fires to start a sacred fire, and we use a lot of fires are important in our ceremonies that they're enduring. They strengthen you. They allow you to burn those things that are important to us. And a lot of tribes, use the fire in ceremonies, and you stay till the fire's out, and then you protect those ashes and those coals, and some of them take them home, because they were used in ceremonies. So the fire is important to us as Native people in doing our ceremonies.
Thank you for that explanation. Is it appropriate for a non-Native person to tie on the prayer cloth?
That's a good question. I think that anybody can come there. It's not, even though it's designed for Native American veterans and their families, we welcome non-natives to come and to participate and feel the same energy and the power. And if they want to tie a prayer cloth on it, they can say a prayer and tie a prayer cloth on, or a medicine bundle, or whatever they have. Like if it's for Indians, but we want to share it with non-Indians. They want them to have that same opportunity and feel that same power and strength that we're going to put into this memorial. So it's important that people come and observe us, and they're respectful to us and our ceremonies, and they want to learn, and we want to educate. And I think that's part of it. They come there and be respectful of our ways.
Okay. Harvey, would you be able to speak a little bit more to the water element, design element?
Water is important. Is an important element. It's not just Native people, but all people use water to make things grow. And we use water. We drink a little water and put a little water back into the earth in ceremonies, so that our ceremony will develop and grow, and that our ideas will develop and grow. And we drink a little water and pour a little water back on the ground, and make an offering of water. And we bless ourselves with water. Water is a purifier. It cleanses, and so we bless ourselves with it. And same with the smoke. We bless ourselves with it, and we bless others. And so the water is a important element in almost all cultures, to cleanse yourself, to bless yourself, and with water. And we use water in all of our ceremonies.
Thank you. I really appreciate you taking the time to answer these questions and help us understand a little bit more about the memorial and its design and the symbolism behind it. So I'm afraid that's all we have time for today, but I want to thank everyone for joining in, and I wish you all a great afternoon. So thank you so much.
Oh,